Good morning. We're just going to come on and just be real, okay? Um, I just got this email, and today is February 13th, which is a very special day to my heart because it's the day our babies came home many years ago. We lost them all. For they left, and we had just moved to a new place, and the cat left first. And then the dogs, we think, went out to look for her, and got tangled and in the woods, and and a dog that adopted us brought us to our baby. So he's always going to have a special place in our heart. And he actually chose my husband to be his owner. And so anyway, I got this email, and during my time with the Lord this morning, I was taken into a book, which I've been reading about, reading this book about, what does he call it? Leap reading. And he goes into the books. And so I saw this book and saw all these images, like, I love comic books, and I see my books as graphic novels. And so I've got the washing machine running, so that's what you hear in the background. So anyway, I was looking through this comic strip, and then all of a sudden, it's like I was focused on the between pages, and there was like this little tiny gap, this dark spot, and I felt like there was something between the pages, and I began to focus on that, and I went in there with Holy Spirit, and I began to place things, like I began to occupy the space, and it began to get larger and larger, and then I began to place some things, not sure what I was supposed to do, but I just felt like, just started to kind of place things. And he says, no, he says, you want to place things starting at the four corners, the foundation. And so then I placed like little boxes at the corners. And so this morning I received an email, and it talked about books and publishing houses only use, I have to look into this, 2% of their money goes to marketing. Well, what's the point in printing a book if nobody's going to see it, if it's just going to go and sit on a shelf? It's like, how do you promote your books? How do you sell them? Isn't that the point of writing them? And that just made this light bulb go off. And I felt like the Lord was saying to me, a podcast, and to have people come and interview them. And I couldn't figure out exactly how, what, when, where, whatever. And so I asked a few people, and they offered to come on, but nobody offered insight. And I feel like that's the missing link with the writers, as the marketing piece, because I spent a lot of money and had my children's book illustrated and got it ready for print, and had trouble printing it. Wasn't sure why, what was going on. So I'm like, I'm just gonna, with the next book, just go to traditional publishing, let them fork out the money, and maybe I'll make a little bit off of it or whatever. But I'm like, maybe my part isn't that. Maybe my part is helping people get their stories out while sharing my own story through podcasts, because people watch videos, I think, more than they read books. And I was like, so I'm praying into this, because I'm like, I could see me interviewing people. And so I prayed, and I asked the Lord for people that had a heart for him, that he told to write, and for them to come forth, and for him to provide a space for me to interview them and to go forward and get their message out and to promote their books, because there is someone that does that for those that have a big platform, but there's nobody that does it for the individual. And so I don't want people that have a big name. I want the nameless, the faceless. And that's interesting because in the book I'm reading, he talks about this ink. And I asked for the ink for these writers that God has asked to share their story from heaven. I believe there is access to creativity in the heaven realm for this podcast, for their stories to get out, because there's a time when I believe that the Lord, that's what the Lord has, is there's people's stories that need to be heard, that need to get out, but they don't have platforms. They don't have a way to get their story out. And I believe that God is going to provide a way. So I'm praying into this and asking the Lord, what is my piece? What is my part in this? And I'm just so grateful and thankful and just praising the Lord and thanking Him for this revelation, for this light bulb, and from Him, and just seeking Him and pressing into this as it unfolds. Have a blessed day.